So Ella, less than a month to go now until the first weekend of the fly. How are you looking forward to being a part of it again this year?
I'm really excited to be a part of it again. It's really exciting getting to talking to everyone on Forge this year and kind of getting to know each other, hearing about how each other like to play, and kind of setting in some dates for trainings, or we've even spoken about a team dinner. So it's really exciting getting to know a new group of players.
Now that all the squads have been selected, we've seen sort of how all the squads are put together. What's your impression of the Forge team for this year?
The Forge team is amazing. I think the entire kind of selection process for the fly this year has really put the competition on like a whole new level. And the standard of play is just going to be insane. So we're really lucky as well that we had ACV that was in charge of our draft process, because she really has selected like such a good bunch. And now kind of as individuals, everyone's such a great player. We've just got to figure out kind of how to like maximize everyone's playing and get to know how each other play, because we obviously haven't yet before. So it'll be really interesting to see how that goes.
And what have you made of the other teams looking forward? If as you said, the competition looks really high across all four teams this year.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously have a bias, but I think Forge is looking the best. But all the teams are looking really good. I think it's really nice that we've kind of split up. So we have, like, you have people that you played with at uni or club, or even England, Scotland and Wales, that will kind of spread out over the four teams. So kind of having your friends on other teams, you hear what they're planning on doing, and it's really kind of encouraging that high level of competition between each of the teams. Even having coaches on different teams, I think everyone's really starting to get excited, and kind of that friendly competition is really starting to be less friendly.
Last year as well, obviously you won it and you ended up top goal scorer. Do you feel a little bit of pressure, or are you just excited to play something that you did so well at last year?
Yeah, no, I'm just excited. I guess there is a bit of pressure of kind of keeping that title as Forge, but there's no reason why we shouldn't, because we've got such a strong team. And it was so enjoyable last year that we're just going to go out there and have fun. I think that's the best mindset to have, and hopefully that will give us a win in the end.
How much preparation have you done sort of as a group or personally, as sort of you've been doing anything with ACB? Has she asked you to look at anything or work on anything in the lead up?
We've had already a kind of a group call, and we've got a few things in the running. Without giving too much away, she's kind of given us an idea of maybe some plays she wants to do, making sure that we're all getting our reps in, like scoring a lot of goals, kind of as well fitness. She really wants to make sure that we're all kind of like fit and ready. We've been quite lucky because we've had quite a few competitions recently, which has kept us all playing a lot. But now, like, as summer comes, I guess it's up to you how much you train. So you just got to really make sure that you're putting in all those reps and kind of all those hours, because once you get on the pitch with sixes, like, it's so fast paced. You're really going to need that fitness element. And how many goals are scored per game? Like, you're really going to have to get those reps in.
Is that just, like you say, the main keys? It's that the level of intensity is up, like you say, it's just more shots, it's more sprints, more running. It's just about cramming all that thing into a much intense period and being able to keep the standards up.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of the time when we're doing tens, it's just a completely different mindset. So you really have to think about switching onto like the sixes mindset. And a lot of that is kind of individual efforts when it comes to your fitness, kind of how well you aim on goal, things like that, which you can do. What's really good about sixes is you can do that by yourself or with some friends. So it's a really good kind of game that lets you adapt and adapt the tens game, but really try and like hone in on your own skills.
You've had sort of, throughout this last year as well, building up lots of international experience across. I know you played some sixes for England, and then last weekend playing in the senior squad as well. being around those environments, you're just feeling yourself personally improving as a player, playing against better players and with better players.
Yeah, definitely. I think you really notice how much you improve when you're kind of going against such good people. And I'm really lucky that everyone that I play with is at such a high standard. And although maybe when you first enter that kind of environment, you feel slightly out of your depth, it really makes you step up as a player. Which will also be really exciting for this year's fly, because it's just such a high standard. It will really kind of show who's been up against similar types of players recently, who's had a chance to have that experience and that kind of pressure, especially since sixes, like the rules are so different and it's got that extra level of aggression. So I'm really lucky that I've had that kind of experience to it and I've kind of got used to that. So hopefully my game has kind of stepped up as well.
And as you say, sort of as your game steps up, because, you know, with it being quite a new version of the game already, it's something that the whole general standard is just improving every year as people get to understand the game more and understand what they can do more in sixes.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's why everyone's kind of, there's such a buzzing atmosphere this year, because I think now as well, it's been shortlisted for the Olympics. It's just made all the coaches, all the players kind of this new level of excitement and buzz around it. And it'll be really interesting to see kind of how coaches have adapted certain plays, because they've kind of got free range to do whatever they want with this new type of format. So it'll be really cool to see kind of how everyone steps up and how everyone adapts to it.
And in your sort of generally in your training, sort of mixing your training with working, studying, how are you getting that balance right? How are you working it all out together?
Well, I mean, this year I'm back to being a student, so I guess I have a bit more time on my hands than people that are working. But it is good. I think it's nicer now that the sun's shining and it's less hard to get up in the morning and get in those kind of hours before the day properly starts. But I mean, you're surrounded by people that are also in the same boat, so you kind of help push each other and motivate each other.
And what are you hoping? What are you hoping to get out of it eventually? You know, essentially at the end of the process. Obviously, you want Forge to win, but you know, personally, are you setting yourself goals or targets, or are you just looking to improve on what you did last year and become a better player?
I think I want to play kind of as well as I played last year. Obviously, it's completely new set of players and coaches, so it will be a different kind of game. So I'm really hoping that I kind of keep myself, you know, at that same level. I think with such a fast-paced game, you sometimes can lose yourself in it a bit. So just making sure I'm like keeping cool and hopefully it will all go to plan and we'll get a win in the end as well, which will be nice. But yeah, I'm not trying to set too high expectations, but I think Forge we've got it in the bag.